Hey everyone, let's dive right into this explainer of the 2018 FIFA World Cup. Today, we're exploring a seriously complex event. We're looking at the intense contrast between the tournament's heavily scrutinized off-field realities and the absolute spectacle on the pitch. It's really the story of a beautiful game played on a highly controversial stage.
To get a complete picture, we've got a solid agenda today. First, the controversial build-up. Then, host cities and fans. The competition structure, the rise of the champions, and finally, the key award winners. Let's get into it.
Section 1. The controversial build-up, scrutiny from selection to kickoff. Okay, tracing this back to the surprising 2010 bid selection, Russia actually beat out joint bids from massive European powerhouses. Almost immediately, eyebrows were raised. By 2014, amidst serious international pressure, FIFA had to publicly insist the games were still happening. But then, 2015 hits, the FBI confirms massive federal investigations into the bidding process. And as we got closer to the tournament in 2017, severe human rights reports about stadium construction came out, with FIFA literally having to admit to abuses. Beyond the FBI corruption and bribery probes, the sheer volume of severe, documented criticisms from watchdog groups was just staggering. Alarms were going off over anti-LGBT propaganda laws, racism among local fan factions, and grim realities for migrant laborers. We're talking reports of unpaid wages and at least 17 construction site deaths. It really makes you ask, what's the actual cost of global entertainment?
So the crucial takeaway here is that despite all this mounting international pressure, severe investigations, and even threatened boycotts from nations like England, FIFA's leadership stubbornly pushed forward. The administration basically drew a line in the sand, deciding that this massive logistical machine was absolutely not stopping.
Moving on to Section 2. Host cities and fans. The scale and the spectacle. $14.2 billion. Let that staggering figure sink in for a second. That was the estimated cost of the tournament, making it the most expensive World Cup ever held at that time. To truly understand this event, you kind of have to grasp the immense financial mountain the host decided to climb.
And that massive budget didn't just build soccer pitches. It fueled a sprawling logistical undertaking to move over 3 million attending fans. The 11 host cities, which were mostly clustered in European Russia, transformed into these massive, vibrant hubs of international street parties. Billions flowed into 12 state-of-the-art stadiums, spearheaded by the colossal Luzhniki Stadium in Moscow, along with enormous infrastructure upgrades. We're talking brand new airport terminals, automated air traffic control, and an unprecedented free public transportation network for the fans.
Now, to manage security, border control, and potential hooliganism, Russia implemented this really innovative fan ID system. It made the fan experience incredibly seamless. First, you buy a match ticket. Then, you register for a photo ID. That piece of plastic was basically your golden ticket. It allowed you to bypass traditional visas, enter the country freely, and actually ride the transit networks between host cities without paying a single dime.
Reflecting on the execution, direct reporting noted a super stark contrast between Russia's authoritarian image and the incredibly hospitable, welcoming atmosphere fans actually experienced on the ground. Fans who were warned by their home governments to expect hostility, well, they instead encountered a brilliantly organized, friendly environment. It led many to declare the month-long tournament an undeniable public relations triumph.
All right, Section 3. Competition structure, new rules, and shocking exits. The 2018 tournament literally changed the sport forever with the introduction of VAR, or Video Assistant Referee. For the very first time at a World Cup, an off-site team of referees in Moscow monitored dozens of camera angles, beaming information directly into the earpiece of the head official on the pitch. This technological leap directly resulted in a record number of penalty kicks being awarded, because fouls that once escaped the human eye were now being caught in high definition. For us watching at home, it meant experiencing the completely new tension of waiting for an off-site video review to decide a team's fate. Looking at the 32 qualified teams, you'll see a massive European presence. But what's truly astonishing about the group stage wasn't just who made it, like debutants Iceland and Panama, but who went home early. Get this, the defending champions, Germany, were shockingly eliminated in the group stage. It was an absolute disaster for them. That was a fate that hadn't befallen the German squad since 1938. Wild, right?
Section 4. Rise of the champions. The road to the final.
The final gave us a perfect David and Goliath sporting narrative. On one side, you had France, a young, incredibly dynamic squad aiming for their second ever World Cup title, relying on a devastatingly fast attack. On the other side, a remarkably resilient Croatian underdog. Croatia, a nation of just over 4 million people, somehow dragged themselves to their first ever final by surviving 3 exhausting, consecutive extra-time knockout matches.
But the fairy tale ended there. In a highly entertaining, high-scoring final that actually featured an own goal and a controversial VAR-assisted penalty, France triumphed 4-2. Their youth, speed, and clinical finishing ultimately allowed them to claim the ultimate prize. Beyond the ultimate glory, the financial payouts were just massive, with France taking home $38 million. But looking at these final rankings, it really showcases utter European dominance. With Belgium and England rounding out the 3rd and 4th spots, UEFA teams completely locked down the top tier of the tournament.
Finally, Section 5. Key award winners. Individual brilliance. England's captain, Harry Kane, secured the Golden Boot. Operating as an incredibly lethal target man, his 6 goals edged out fierce competition from Belgium's Romelu Lukaku and France's Antoine Griezmann, cementing his absolute place in World Cup history.
And we have to talk about Croatia's Luka Modric, who is rightfully awarded the Golden Ball for the tournament's best player. Even though his team fell short in the final, his tireless, masterful midfield performances and tactical genius were the true engine of Croatia's underdog run. We also saw a teenage Kylian Mbappé absolutely burst onto the global stage with terrifying speed, taking Best Young Player. Belgium's Thibaut Courtois was recognized as the best shot stopper with the Golden Glove, and Spain took home the Fair Play Trophy.
So, to wrap up this explainer, I'll leave you with this question to chew on. When the history books are written, will the 2018 World Cup be remembered most for its spectacular sporting execution or the dark controversies of its inception? It was a tournament birthed in scandal and deeply concerning human rights issues, yet executed with breathtaking precision and hospitality on the ground. Understanding both sides is really the only way to grasp the true story of this global event. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll catch you next time.